and welcome to BookTrib and Merrimass Media present 15 Minutes With. Today we welcome Devi Di Guida. She's the author of The Cayman Hustle. And though she's born in South America, Devi and her family reside currently in Montreal. And of course, the Cayman Islands, the center of the book for The Cayman Hustle, is just one of her favorite places to frequent. So we can't wait to find out more about that. Welcome, Devi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to tell you a little bit about my book, The Cayman Hustle.
Absolutely. So let's chat about that then. Tell us about, I actually have the book right here. Cover is absolutely beautiful. And if it doesn't make you want to go to the Caribbean, I don't know what does.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me about the story, the characters that we're talking about here, and you know, how it all came about.
The Cayman Hustle has two themes. The primary theme is the journey of a deaf man, and the second theme is multiculturalism. The book is done in three parts. When we meet Cayman, the name, it sounds like Cayman, but it actually is different. When we meet Cayman, he's a heartbroken, deaf man who couldn't find a job. Try as much as he tries, he couldn't get his foot even through the door for an interview. The only thing he's good at actually is writing, and so he writes a deaf blog, which is very popular, and people are feeling sympathetic towards him. One of his deaf fans who reads this blog sends him a ticket to the Cayman Islands, and this is where he finds himself getting into a lot of trouble.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes. The thing about Cayman is that I didn't want him just to be a deaf man who didn't do anything. I wanted him to be a deaf man who would do things, you know, be out there, be in the action, move around, have friends, do something with his life, you know,
Sure.
get the job done. In his words.
Absolutely.
The second part of the book is Cayman is sort of lured into writing a memoir of his early life, and so he revisits Montreal, where he grew up, and he tells about his multicultural cast of friends. And he's very happy to write this memoir because it brings him back to a happy period in his life. He's not a sit-down guy and hey, I'm just going to be here and I'll take what the world shoots my way. I'm going to give back to the world, shoot back something of my own to the world. And this is how we meet Cayman. He's cunning, he's conniving, he has a sense of humor, and when we meet him, he is madly and badly in love.
Oh.
And yeah.
So I'm really curious for you, the inspiration behind the whole story from, of course, as I mentioned, you know, Cayman Islands is inspirational in itself for you because you love traveling there. But what was the inspiration behind the story itself?
My inspiration for this story is threefold. I grew up with a hearing impaired sister. She was not clinically deaf, but in order to function on a daily basis, she had to wear a hearing aid in each ear. But yet she was a very determined person. And as an adult, she managed to get an MBA in technology studies and mathematics, which is a very rare thing for a woman. This is in the 70s. And she was always an inspiration to me, especially since we grew up in a third world country, in a little village where there wasn't much, you know, that you could expect education-wise, or for her as a hearing impaired person. But she was a master at lip reading. She would look at your lips and you'd think you have salad or something in your lips, but it was just her way of communicating. And what was wrong with her is she had head shadow. Head shadow is when you are deaf in one ear and sounds go through, meets in the middle of the brain with the sounds that are coming through the good ear, and they cannot communicate together. They cannot talk well. So you need a hearing aid in a hearing device in a non-hearing ear to fix the problem. But our family didn't know that. So she went through most of her life up till she was about 18 when she went to England, and that's when she received her first hearing device. The second person, yes, it's very interesting. The second person, as I always wanted to write a story, as I said, and much later in life, I am living in Montreal, and a little boy, a 6-year-old boy, rang my doorbell, and his hand was going up, down, sideways, whatever. I misinterpreted all these actions as a rude child, very rude child, making fun of me or something. So I closed the door in his face. He returned with his voice, his older brother, who explained that his brother was deaf and just wanted to play with my kids. Aww. Talk about judgmental. I always felt terrible and bad about it. So he was around our house for about 2 years until the family moved away. They were a French family from France, so I was able to find him. And then as now the story is getting better, I wanted now to write a story having a sister deaf and meeting this little boy. But I was bringing up a family, so it was in the back burner. Much later in life, I'm in the Cayman Islands, and it's time to write this story. And as I was like putting the story in my head, I ran into a deaf college graduate who was from Philadelphia. He was studying neuroscience. And in conversations with him, I got really excited now. Suddenly, I didn't want this little boy to be a little boy anymore. I want him to be that guy who's going all the way now. So I was truly inspired. I think I can say the college graduate brought the best out in me to make Kaman, the protagonist, grow up and be someone who accomplishes. And the little boy brought the story forward, and my sister carried it to the end. So there was
amazing.
Yeah.
What a story. That's amazing. Now, did your sister growing up, did she communicate only through lip reading, or did she also do hand signaling?
She did hand signaling as well, but there was no standard sign language in Guyana where I grew up. Yeah, her sign language is whatever everyone would say or indicate to her. So we had our own sign language going on. Because at the same time too, our first language is Creole. It was not English. We learned English as a second language, so the words were different, so you couldn't follow any standard of sign language.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow, what a background and a inspirational journey to lead to this book. It's amazing. I'm curious what the writing process for you was like from the point of view of the deaf man. Did you did your sister help at all in that, or?
I asked her advice towards the end. I did question her a lot. The writing process was an adventure and an education. Yeah, it was an adventure because I got to develop. I love developing the story of this little boy. The story goes back and forth to his early life, to adulthood. So it's about 2 decades. Okay. But there was also a lot of research that I had to do, which brought me to different places. It brought me to the World Federation for the Deaf in Helsinki, Finland, brought me to the American Sign Language and the Deaf Federations all over the world. Wherever I could find information, I sought it out. But there were some interesting things that I learned too. For example, in the United States of America, California has over 360,000 deaf people between the ages of 18 and 64. Yeah. Wow. And Rochester, New York has the most per capita.
Yeah. I grew up with a girl who went to school in Rochester for School of the Deaf. Yeah.
Yes, interesting, eh?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and very educational on learning how they communicate and how you communicate with them, because they can easily a deaf person can easily learn and read and do everything that we can do. They just simply have a different way of communicating it.
Yeah, there's Beethoven was deaf. Mm-hmm. So that's a good example to go by. But there's quite a few. There is a basketball player, Lance. I only know him by Lance, but I know he's very, very popular among deaf people, and he does a lot of work for the deaf communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So for you, in terms of actually publishing the book, was you self-published, and was that a route you particularly or personally wanted to go down, as opposed to the traditional publishing? We find with self-published authors, sometimes their reasons are personal, or they have different reasons for choosing that route.
Um, in going the self-publishing route was more a personal decision, really. The Cayman Hustle was written as a book within a book. It goes back in decades, and it brings the protagonist back and forth. In researching, I found there wasn't many books written about deaf people, and it's safe to say deaf people don't mind being, the terminology deaf. And nor many about multicultures in the multicultural sense. So I wanted to put together this whole book with a multicultural cast, which I did, but I wasn't sure if it would be something that the traditional publicists would buy, and I didn't have enough time to peddle it around because for other personal reasons I don't want to talk about that. And I decided that I'll self-publish it, see how it's received. I think I'm with all self-published authors right now, hoping that the benefits come in time.
Absolutely.
It's a journey.
Absolutely.
Like the journey, mine is a journey, and self-published author's journey.
Certainly.
But I can tread it on.
Definitely. Yeah. So the book, The Cayman Hustle, is considered suspense. Do you enjoy that genre? Is it one you would like to move out of for your next book, or are you interested in trying other genres, or is this where you're happy and comfortable?
The Cayman Hustle is not only suspense, it is romance, it is adventure, it is educational.
Sure.
From the reviews posted on Amazon, it's available on Amazon and only on Amazon. Some readers love the mix of the combined genres. Okay. The big hit is the multicultural cast of characters, believe it or not. Say if I have 30 reviews, I don't know how much I have, 20 would like the multicultural genre of it.
Sure.
So I'll stick with what I can write about, I like the multicultural aspects of life.
Absolutely.
So I'll write more of multicultural.
Good. And it's all around us, and I think everyone, or most people, we would hope, are certainly open and always I think the educational portion is so important for any book, because there's always something that you don't know. So I love that element.
Yeah, you know what? I'm multicultural. I have a multicultural house. My whole family is multicultural. Around us, Montreal is a very multicultural city.
Speaking of, what for you is coming down the line? What's next in terms of a second novel? Are you working on anything? What's happening for you?
Yes, I am. When I left the Cayman Hustle, I left it with a little loophole. And there was a chakra stone, which was it had a price tag of $1 billion, and it's floating around. It landed in Canada, and it landed with the Mohawk Indians. One of the characters who was in the Cayman Hustle, his name was Tenskwatawa. His call name, or his whatever you want, nickname, was Indian. He is coming back and will take the lead in this book. I always wanted to write a story about the Mohawk, the Native Indians, because they're the closest Native Indians that live in Montreal, and they have interesting stories that happen within their communities that people don't know about. So this is also going to be an educational book and an adventure and a suspense. And it's a love story in there. Great.
Excellent. All the intriguing pieces that make up a tale, that is for sure.
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
see this going to a trilogy or just kind of continuing as the stories come to you? Do you have a thought on that yet?
It could be a trilogy if this one, if the chakra stone is finished in time for as I plan, then I'll go for a third book, which will again bring back Cayman, the deaf protagonist. But he will also be in the chakra stone.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that's really exciting. Can't wait to see it. And for those who have not checked it out, the Cayman Hustle, you can order it online on Amazon right now. Grab it. Devi, it's so lovely to talk to you today. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I love telling you stories about the
Good.
kids. So I could talk to you all day.
Oh, good. I feel the same. Well, this was a lot of fun. I hope
Yeah.
everyone really enjoyed it. And thank you again, everyone, for watching. Have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Good evening. Bye.
Bye.